What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and do I have an unemployment extension update for you guys today? Take a look at this. Just came out a little while ago. Biden open to extending federal unemployment bump amid labor shortage. That's right, you guys. Now, we just heard a little while ago that they could be open to extending this out past the September 6th deadline. Now, this is my second unemployment update and federal unemployment update today, but in my last video, as you guys saw, we heard that there are several groups calling to make the federal unemployment extension permanent, and that includes PUA for the self-employed, independent contractors, gig workers who normally aren't eligible for benefits, PEUC, which extends out how long you can collect on your claims, and also FPUC, which is that $300 per week unemployment boost. Now, we're hearing that these are coming to an end, and today we saw White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki in a press conference get asked several times, and she said that the White House and Biden are open to potentially extending this out even further. Take a look at this right here. White House walks back Biden's plan to let the pandemic unemployment benefits expire in September, and this is definitely walking it back because, as you guys will recall, prior to this, we had heard that when states were cutting off benefits early, President Joe Biden came out and said they can do it if they want to. It wasn't meant to be permanent. That's totally fine. If they feel like that it's necessary to cut it off, they can do it. And then we saw that when states sued the governors, actually won and brought federal benefits back, then he said if they want to bring it back, they can. That's fine. Kind of going back on that hard stance of ending it. And now we're hearing today video footage for you guys that they are potentially thinking about extending it out even further. That's right, you guys. So I'm going to dive into these articles and this video footage so you can see it for yourself, get you caught up on the latest that's happening today, August 6, 2021, regarding extending out federal unemployment benefits. But before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you like and appreciate these updates, keeping you up to date on unemployment, stimulus, Congress, the economy, anything having to do with money, don't forget to take a second to just smash that like button. I would appreciate it. It really helps out the channel a ton. Also, leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And also, don't forget to share this out if you think it's going to help out other people. Now, in addition to that, don't forget that if this is your first time here, come join the Ram fam. Join the viewing community and you can stay up to date on everything that's going on. All you got to do is smash that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. And I will keep you up to date on all this stuff. And if you got any specific questions for me, don't forget to shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. That is by far the best way to get a hold of me if you got any specific questions that you want answered. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. I've got video footage, I've got articles, gonna get you caught up as to what's happening right now with the possibility of them being open now to extending out federal unemployment benefits. All right, you guys, so we're going to be taking a look at the video footage here in just a second where White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked on 3 separate occasions about extending out federal unemployment benefits, and we're going to see her answers here in just a second. But first, let's take a look at this article that just came out. Link in the description below. As always, I always cite my sources so you can check it out for yourself and see that I'm not just making up random stuff. Now, the article says White House walks back Biden's plan to let the pandemic unemployment benefits expire in September. And it says the White House has not made a decision on whether the expanded unemployment benefits launched during the pandemic should expire in September. Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Friday, today, just hours ago. Now, President Joe Biden previously stated in June that it, quote, makes sense to let the benefits expire on the current timeline, given the harsh critiques Republicans and some economists had launched against the program over the past year. Yet a number of Democratic lawmakers have called for making the pandemic expansion permanent now. But Psaki told reporters at Friday's White House press briefing that, quote, there has not been any decision about this at this point. When asked about unemployment benefits in light of a report that saw 943,000 jobs added over the past month. Now, later in the briefing, she added that the administration had not seen any evidence that states ending expanded unemployment benefits early had any impact on the latest jobs report. Biden himself, speaking on the jobs report earlier in the day, said statistics prove that, quote, the Biden plan is working. The Biden plan produces results, and the Biden plan is moving the country forward. Economic growth is the fastest in 40 years. Jobs are up. The unemployment rate is the lowest since the pandemic hit. Black unemployment is down as well, he added. Why? Because we put in place the necessary tools early in my presidency, the pandemic vaccine plan, and the American Rescue Plan to fight the virus and fight the economic mess we inherited. You can watch Friday's entire briefing below, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sections where White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked this specific question. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Given the strength of today's jobs numbers, has the president decided that he's not going to seek to renew the beefed up unemployment benefits when they expire next month? I know earlier this summer he said that it would make sense to let them lapse, but that was before the Delta variant really took hold.
There has not been any decision about this at this point.
He's still deciding whether to ask to renew them, whether to seek to renew them or not.
Correct. At this point, they're expiring at the beginning of September. Nothing has changed on that front, but a final decision has not been made.
Thank you. First on the jobs report, if the economy is so great and you guys are celebrating jobs being created at
Wouldn't you say over 900,000 jobs created is pretty good?
So this is my question. Why then is the president still pushing for big relief packages, pandemic era relief packages like the eviction moratorium?
Well, first I would say one of the biggest pieces of legislation he's pushing for, as we know, is the infrastructure package and also the Build Back Better agenda. Most of the components in those packages are long-term investments. They're overdue. They're meant to modernize our infrastructure, put people back to work over the long term, and make us more competitive over the long term. It is still a reality, even with a good jobs number this month, and even with 4 million jobs created over 6 months, that there are still people out of work. There are still people who don't have enough money to make ends meet. That's one of the reasons why we designed the American Rescue Plan to have a long-term, spread-out impact, whether it's the child tax credit or benefits that are going to schools that are spread out over the course of a year, because we are still in a recovery.
Well, on Nancy's question, you said no final decision has been made on the UI expiration. So that means that it's a possibility that perhaps the president would ask for an extension at some point?
Well, it's planning to end. It's supposed to end at this point at the beginning of September. So he hasn't made a decision to extend it. He also hasn't made a decision not to. So I suppose that's correct.
Well, it gets to the question I actually wanted to ask, which you guys have been really aggressive on the public health front.
Yeah.
But the president laid out today, I think, a series of 6 measures that kind of foamed the runway on the economic front.
Yeah.
As Delta has resurged. Is your economic team right now looking at perhaps new short-term measures to implement if the Delta variant drives the economy in the wrong direction?
Well, some of these factors we have been tracking and watching for some time, which is the supply. One of them is the supply chain impact. That's not a domestic issue, but we've seen, for example, in Malaysia and Vietnam, the rise of Delta in countries like Malaysia and Vietnam has impacted the supply chains, which of course impacts some industries here in the United States, including the car industry. That has been expedited by Delta, but predates Delta to some degree as well. We haven't seen to date a direct impact on the economy from Delta, but we anticipate supply chain impacts and certainly know those would be factors. I will say that, as the president talked about earlier today, one of the way that we designed the American Rescue Plan and our economic recovery plans was to plan for the potential for ups and downs, because we knew an economic recovery would include them. So I referenced earlier the child tax credit benefits, which will go monthly through the course of this calendar year, but then additional benefits next year, which will help tens of millions of people. Also the assistance that's going to schools, that goes out through the course of next year. So there are a number of benefits that don't expire right now and weren't meant to, that will continue. But of course we will continue to monitor any impacts we see.
So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Man, some good questions. Those were some of the things that I know that I was wondering is, with the way that cases are going right now, we are on a pretty steep incline trend with all of the new cases coming in. We actually are at a 7-day average of over 100,000 cases per day. Is the economic team taking into consideration new potential provisions or what they might need to do if we have to start increasing restrictions, start moving backwards in our fight against the pandemic? And there we're hearing them say that they have taken into consideration long-term the impacts on the economy, but they're still open to it. They have not closed the doors on it. So we will see you guys. I'll be sure to keep you up to date. This just came out today. As always, like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you made it this far and you like and appreciate these updates, don't forget to take a second to smash that like button. I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel a ton. Also, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date. Turn on the notification bell to get notified right away as soon as I upload. And if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, hope this reaches you well. I'll be sure to keep you up to date. Hope you have a blessed weekend. Remember, regular uploads Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also random videos throughout the day as news breaks. But hope this reaches you well. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.